And welcome back to my channel, Danny not a crocodile, because clearly human, not a crocodile, unless I am a crocodile in a human disguise. But I'm not. And today we are going to discuss what I read this last summer, or summer that is literally just ending. I am in the middle of packing to go back to my dorm, so everything's a mess right now. And to start off, I'm gonna do something new that I saw on another channel that I really liked, is like talking about currently doing things, or like currently reading things, currently watching things, because I do kind of like to discuss some other things besides just what I've read, or you know, stuff like that. You know, I don't just read, that's not the only thing I do. I do other things sometimes. I want to start these kinds of videos off with what I'm currently reading, currently watching, and currently gaming, because I do actually like to game. I just don't get to it as often as I would really like to. Well, let's start off with currently reading. I'm literally just about to start Moshi Moshi by Banana Yoshimoto. And I'm gonna leave it at that because this is a part of another video that I'm working on right now. And then also, I've actually been getting through this guy for a while, and that's this book. It's called Hokusai Beyond the Wave, and it's by, or like, edited by, really, Timothy Clark. It seems to be, or it goes with an exhibit at, I think, the British Museum, British National Museum, British Art Museum or something. I already forgot. But it's just, literally, it's just Hokusai's work all in it with little descriptions and stuff. And I found at my grandpa's house while we were cleaning. He has a lot of books. Between him and my grandma, they did a lot of reading. And this one I think I will probably actually keep after I finish, because I really like, it's a good art book. And like the pictures are a good size, and they are really good quality so that you can actually study them, because that's like one of my main things when it comes to art books. It's gotta, you know, it's gotta be worth keeping, that I can actually look at things. And now for currently watching, I literally just started The Sandman. I'm only like 2 episodes in. So far, I'm enjoying the vibes. I don't think I'm deep enough in to know if I love it or not, but like I'm definitely enjoying the vibes. It's got some good vibes. And then as always, I am always currently watching Bob's Burgers. That is my go-to ultimate comfort show. If I just need to put something on, I'm gonna put on Bob's Burgers. That is my go-to. And actually recently, me and my mom made the summertime burger from the, you know, the little cookbook, which I did not grab, but we have it. Yeah, we made that burger, and then we rewatched the Bob's Burgers movie again, which I think so far that is the only movie I have seen in theaters this year, because I haven't really felt comfortable going to the theaters, but like the Bob's Burgers movie is one that I absolutely had to go see in theaters. It was really also fun to rewatch it again while eating a Bob's Burger. And now what am I currently gaming? Animal Crossing. I'm just back to Animal Crossing right now, trying to really make some decisions with my island, because it's taken me a while to really even do anything with it or make it like cute or whatever, and I'm making some progress. There's some areas of my island that I'm actually proud of. Like, I'm satisfied with it. Like, it's done, or pretty much done, unless I find some more stuff to add. But like, I'm feeling good about my island so far. There's still a lot to do, and really I'm still just waiting on getting the correct recipes or finding the correct items. Like, I know there's some items that exist, I just don't have them, and I don't know the best way to get a hold of them. So that's all the current stuff, so let's go into the past and see what I read this summer. First, we're gonna start with non-fiction, because I read a few different non-fiction books. And the first one, which tabbed it quite a bit, and I have even more written that I don't even have tabs with. But this is Traditional Okinawan Karate, The Transformation of Tea by Koe Nohara. This is actually like my sensei, and I did not realize, like, dude's got a PhD in sports anthropology. Like, he has a PhD or a Doctor of Sports Anthropology from Waseda University in Tokyo. So he's a pretty educated man, and he's actually, I think it's already all written in Japanese, but this is volume 1 of the translated version, and we're still waiting on volume 2, the second half translated. I've always been interested in like the history and everything about, or behind, and like how karate was created and stuff, and so I I would read his book because it's all about that. So in volume 1 we have 3 chapters. Well, first there's a little introduction, and then chapter 1 is what he says is the transformation of Okinawa traditional karate tea, and so it's the different eras. So first you have the background and the emergence of tea, the era of tea, the era of tudi, and the era of karate, which these are different names or different forms that karate took before it was named karate. And then next you have kata, which kata is like a set of movements or basic movements all put together in one thing so that you can practice correctly all of it and practice the different moves. This chapter literally goes all into kata and different parts of it and the different history and the culture that's in it. And then the next chapter is the martial arts characteristics of Okinawa. And so it goes into, well, the martial aspects of martial art. So you have warfare, martial techniques, budo and bushido, which I don't want to go too far into it because then you'll probably be bored unless you are a karate person. And that's part of why I ended up giving this 3 stars, because unless you are a karate person or someone who's super into this, you're not gonna have a great time with this. Like, I'd say you have a great time with like the first chapter or so, but then after that it's a little bit repetitive, and also just you gotta really have the background knowledge already of certain aspects of karate and stuff, or just really be into it. Otherwise you are, especially in the last half, you're gonna be bored out of your mind. Because even I was finding it a little drag-on-y, but I'm also really into this, so I did still find it pretty interesting. I mean, obviously I tabbed quite a few things, and I do hope he gets us volume 2, because he's got some fun thoughts. He has very strong thoughts about, say, like the Olympics and the competitive aspects of karate and how those are actually damaging to the true spirit of karate, and he's supposed to go in a little bit more to stuff like that in volume 2. Chapter 4 is supposed to be karate as a sport karate and karate as a martial art. Obviously he's going to go into, I think, more of his thoughts on those things. Chapter 5 is essentially part 1 of internationalization, and then chapter 6 is part 2, which is the problematics of internationalization. And then chapter 7 is supposed to be the current state of karate and its birthplace in Okinawa. And so yeah, I hope we get volume 2 at some point. I have no clue. Because of COVID, we have not seen him in like 3 years? 2 years, 3 years, whatever. Because he used to come every November for our international tournament, but obviously not happening right now, or was not happening. So we haven't seen him in a while. I really enjoyed this, but I think this is very, very niche for who else is going to enjoy this. And continuing on, honestly, with an Okinawa theme, my second nonfiction is essentially a guidebook to Okinawa, and it says and the Ryukyu Islands, but they're kind of the same thing, because Ryukyu or Ryukukan is the original kingdom that those islands were named, but then when Japan annexed it, they changed it to the Okinawa prefecture. And this is by Robert Walker, and I gave it 3 stars because honestly it's not that great of a guidebook. Like, there's some things that I marked down and took note of if I ever get to go back there again, but I have to say, way too many US military only access resorts and stuff. Like, he literally has quite a few resorts or places that you can only get access to if you are a US military person, card carrier, if you have the card to get on base, essentially. And as a guidebook, that's not very useful because there's only a very specific set of people who are going to be US military. There is a large amount of US military over in Okinawa. That's the largest group, is over in the Okinawan Islands, because most of them are on the Okinawan Islands instead of, say, mainland Japan. But that's a whole nother issue that we do not have time to get into here. And I understand also why a lot of the things they take notes of are war memorials, or yeah, there's a bunch of war memorials, which I understand because Okinawa was like one of the bloodiest theaters or places of the war, and one of the bloodiest battles, so a lot of them are like suicide memorials, mass suicide site memorials, and just where a bunch of people died overall. And I understand that you should have memorials for that, but I don't know if that would be my top thing to recommend someone to go do in Okinawa. You might want to be like, oh, there's a couple memorials, but then that turns into one hell of a depressing trip if that's all you do. And there's a lot of other things to do in Okinawa, like things that he didn't even mention, but then I went and did when I was in Okinawa last time. Also, spent a freaking long ass time every time talking about like distances, like how long between things, and I'm like, why no one cares? I wonder if this is like for American military people going over and being stationed in Okinawa, because for your average American or average English speaker who might be buying this, like there's some good recommendations, but it needs more. It even doesn't read that well like a guidebook, in my opinion. Like there needs to be more cultural things included in this. And next, for my last nonfiction, nonfiction number three, I read Hiroshige by Daninotacrocodile, and it's essentially just like my hokusai book, but it's Hiroshige's work. It wasn't that interesting. Like even there wasn't as many written parts. It mainly was just looking at the photos, but the photos weren't even that high quality of his work, and it's literally like this big. And so I'm definitely not even keeping it because it's so tiny and so hard to look at the details or get a really good look at his work. Or that it honestly is the main reason I gave it 3 stars. It's not that good of an art book. Like, what artist is gonna wanna get a magnifying? Even if you got a magnifying out, some of them were really blurry, or like they weren't, I don't know, good resolution photos. So yeah, I don't recommend that book. And that is all the nonfiction, so let's move on to the fiction books I read. And first we have this absolute babe of a book, Midnight Horizon by Daniel Jose Older. Fantastic. Out of this world. Amazing. Stunning. Great. Wizard. An absolute wizard book. I absolutely loved reading this. And that's honestly, like, I'm gonna keep telling everyone, get into the High Republic. It's so good. The authors are really amazing. Daniel's one of my favorites, and they're also super interactive with the fans, so this is an amazing Star Wars series to get into, and I can never recommend it enough. And out of the YA 3 that are out in phase 1, this is my favorite. I love this so much. It's an amazing YA conclusion to phase 1, because there's so many different things that you're reading. You're reading middle grade, you're reading YA, you're reading adult, that, I don't know, it's all kind of concluding together between the 3 books, but this is great. It has my favorite characters. It has Ram, it has Wreath, and they're going through some big moments and having some great growth. Go read the High Republic. From how I'm talking about it, should be obvious, gave this 5 stars. Continuing with High Republic, I also read Mission to Disaster by Justina Ireland. I gave that one 4 stars. I mean, I honestly loved it too. It was great. It has some really funny lines, like shout out, I already mentioned it to the other one, but let's ice these gators. I am going to keep repeating that as one of my favorite lines because it is genuinely a hilarious and great line. It also has Emery, and I love Emery. He is my child. He is my boy. Mission to Disaster, also great. And then I also read, this is like a double book. It has 2, I guess they're called light novels in it. It has 5 centimeters per second and Children Who Chase Lost Voices. The original stories for both of them are by Makoto Shinkai, and I think he also wrote 5 centimeters per second, but helping with Children Who Chase Lost Voices was Asahi Akisaka. I liked Children Who Chase Lost Voices more than 5 centimeters per second. I honestly didn't like 5 centimeters per second that much at all, but Children Who Chase Lost Voices was able to help bump this up to a 4 star because it's both of them together. 5 centimeters per second is more of a contemporary, is much more contemporary, and like Children Who Chase Lost Voices is much more fantasy, almost urban fantasy, because it starts out in like contemporary normal Japan and then they go to like a fantasy world. What did it remind me of? Oh, I know, it reminded me a lot of Castle in the Sky, or whatever it's called, from Studio Ghibli. It reminded me a lot of that, and I really loved it a lot. Like, I had a much better time with that one than I did 5 centimeters per second. 5 centimeters per second, it was just weird at times. There was just something that was I didn't like it. I was either bored with it, or there's just something about it, or at one point that just really like was like, I don't know about that. But Children Chase Lost Voices was fantastic. I did really like that. Though, there was one point where I was like, yeah, that's Japan, not America, because that would not fly in America. There's like one point where she's, the girl, like her teacher said something, or something was happening in the story where she needed to get a hold of her teacher. And then so she went to the office and they gave her the man's address. And I was like, hell no. That would be so illegal in the US. There is no way the office would give a child, a minor, a teacher's address. That would be bad. That would be so bad. So yeah, there's some definitely unique Japanese moments in here, or unique Japanese thinking that I was like, that's not what we do here, but okay. And my next one is another 5-star. I had some really great 5-star reads this month so far. And that is The Cat Who Saved Books by Sosuke Natsukawa. I loved this book so much. And I love, like, physically this book. I don't know, you can't really see it, can you? But like, this paper is an amazing texture. This cover art, or this jacket art, is absolutely fantastic. And the inside is this lovely dark teal. Like, I have to just shout out like this edition of this book. It's really great. I had such a great time reading this book, and I think I've already discussed like the general plot of this book in the video where I bought this book. So go check out, I think it's my San Francisco vlog, where I talk about buying this and what it's about. It followed through. It followed through and became a 5 stars. And I read Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. I am scarred. I am scarred by that book. It was a 2 stars for me. The writing is fantastic. I will give it that. It has absolutely really great writing. It's simple and innocent at times, and then, you know, when it needs to be, when the character is simple and innocent. But it's not the book I thought it was. Like, everyone was gushing about Convenience Store Woman, and I am gonna read that, but I randomly just decided to start with Earthlings. And now I'm kind of scared to read Convenience Store Woman, because Earthlings was a lot. It needs so many trigger warnings. They almost spoil the book, but like, I'm gonna tell you, because boy, I needed to be warned. We've got sexual assault of a minor. We've got cousin incest, and that's like right at the beginning, hitting you. And at first it's like, but then it gets worse. It gets worse cousin incest later on. We had cannibalism, and there honestly might have been more. Like, I read it really fast because you're like, what could happen next? What else could freaking happen? That's like your thoughts the entire book. Is like, what could we go further? And then it often does go further. So I didn't even write so much down, but it does have, like I said, really good writing and really good discussion about the patriarchal society of Japan. And even as someone in America, I can definitely relate to that, and the expectations of women, expectations of men in a patriarchal society, and expectations of like general couples that you're supposed to get married pretty young and then you just start pumping out babies. That's what you're supposed to do. But that's not true. That's what's expected often in patriarchal society, but hell no. But yeah, Earthlings is a whole lot. It was not for me. I don't know who it's for, but I do have to give it points for its writing and its discussion of patriarchy and other things, but you deserve to go into it with warnings. I did not deserve what I went through. And that little stupid ass little hedgehog on the cover is also a lie. There is a little cute stuffed hedgehog in the book, but it's lying to you about how cute the book might be. The book is not cute. That is everything I've read this summer. I've actually technically read one other book, but it's going to be in the same video as Moshi Moshi, so I don't want to discuss it at all because it is going to get discussed later. And I decided to do what are like my top 2 favorites of what I read this summer. And that has to go to Midnight Horizon by Daniel Jose Older and The Cat Who Saved Books by Sosuke Natsukawa. Those are my top 2 from this summer. I absolutely love them. They are 5 stars. out of this world and just really good. Highly recommend the High Republic in general, and I do really recommend this book, again, if you like books. I've read a lot of, well, not a lot, but I've read at least a couple books about books this summer, and this is included in them, and it's got a cat. It's got a cat. It's got a really sassy, sarcastic, awesome cat. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot the vibes this gave me. This book also reminded me of some of my favorite Studio Ghibli movies. Like, this is another Studio Ghibli movie book. It's got like a little bit of Whisper of the Heart vibes. Like, it's got that going on. And I just really enjoyed reading this so much, and I do highly recommend it. That's everything that I have read this summer so far. And honestly, I know we got a little bit left of August, but school starting, so summer is over for me, pretty much. I literally have like a little bit left. And if you do not already follow me on my other socials, please go follow me. They are always here and always in the description below. And I do stuff on there that is different from my YouTube. And also, if you like this video, please like it. I do kind of enjoy doing these larger wrap-ups because I really don't like monthly wrap-ups. I just like randomly searching or randomly grouping things for wrap-ups. And please subscribe if you would like to see more. And bye.